It's actually been our great pleasure. And so thank you very much, Fiona, and everybody at UNH that made this possible. I mean, this summer has been incredible, and Jason's been a very big part of it. So we're at Torrey Project. We're a nonprofit. For the past 4 years. We've been trying to educate and support and empower conscious entrepreneurs that really want to use the force of their for-profit businesses for good in the world. And so we're big on pursuing both profit and purpose. That's what we've been teaching. But these wonderful entrepreneurs that we've been teaching have to go out into the real world and raise capital. And there's real problems in early stage capital allocation. And what we found is that um, that there was a greater level of discrimination in capital allocation than I ever would have imagined, with only a few percent going to female founders and a few percent going to non-white male founders. And so we decided that we were going to lean into that problem and launch an investment fund that's quite a bit different than anything that's ever been done in the world. And some of the things that we're doing is tying the cost of our capital to B Corp certification. So when we invest in a company, they're going to need to be on track to gain B Corp certification. They're going to need to commit to doing that. And when they achieve B Corp certification, we're actually going to rebate a big chunk of their cost of capital. We're only going to be investing in female and minority or BIPOC founders, and we're going to be providing a high level of education and support. So what we're doing is out of the box. It breaks all the rules in the investment community. It really is intended to be disruptive. And there's the problem that Jason's been leading into. The question is, how do you do it? How do you design a fund that's legal and in compliance with all the regulatory things and is profitable so it'll attract investors and have the social impact that we want? And so we've been creating that for the past 2 years, and we're closing in on getting ready to launch, but we're lacking systems and disciplines and a lot of the organization that we need. And so Jason spent this summer coming in and really working hard to help us get organized, help us think it through. He's been great at pushing back on us and questioning things and giving us alternatives to think of. So what a fine young man, just on fire, and just a pleasure to work with. We got a couple of weeks with him out here in California, as you can see. Got our rhinos in the background, and so we really had a nice time. And can't wait to see what Jason has to say today.
Thanks for that awesome introduction, David. It was a phenomenal time in California, especially. As a brief introduction to Torrey Project, I know David touched on a lot of these points already, but we really exist to reimagine the way that capitalism is carried out today and to catalyze the mindset shift that we need to truly shape a sustainable and equitable society. So 94% of venture capital funding goes only to white men, as David touched on. So as an investor in startups, we're investing only in non-white male founders to close this gap. We also invest for the long term. So our portfolio companies are not going to be subjected to pressures to put short-term profits over the needs of other important stakeholders. And lastly, we provide non-dilutive revenue-based financing to have entrepreneurs give up as little equity in their companies as possible. So at Torrey Project's brand new fund, Venture RBF, I had a pretty broad scope of work, given that there's a lot of things that need to get done to launch the fund. But my main two tasks were to build out the fund's due diligence process and the curriculum for its accelerator program. Next slide, please. So for those that aren't familiar, due diligence is the process that investors use to vet prospective investments. In designing Venture RBF's due diligence checklist, I split the universe of possible items into 3 categories based on when the investment takes place. There's merger and acquisition, which includes the entire universe of possible items and is designed to help our portfolio companies prepare in the event that they do get M&A offers. Then there's core investment, which includes the seed and core items. This is designed to prepare our portfolio companies for taking on venture capital investment, like David mentioned, and inform our investments in graduates from our accelerator program. And then there's seed investment, which includes the most fundamental due diligence items that we need to evaluate companies before they are accepted into our accelerator program. Once this checklist is approved by our investment and credit committee, it will be used by the organization to vet all of its prospective investments, which I'm super excited about. We can go to the next slide. So quickly diving into the accelerator curriculum that I developed, my material and corporate culture centered around helping entrepreneurs create mission, vision, values, and purpose statements, which are used for many things, including setting the tone of the organization, obtaining buy-in from employees on important decisions, and driving positive results by incorporating the company values into performance reviews. Additionally, I got the chance to share my knowledge on pitching to investors, but I also learned a lot from David about the kinds of details that impact investors specifically want to see in a pitch. And lastly, I expanded my knowledge of venture capital deal terms to develop content that helps our portfolio entrepreneurs make informed decisions when they're accepting investments from VCs. This is really important. This is just a fraction of the value we want to provide to our portfolio entrepreneurs, but it's all I had time to talk about today. So I'll close with, overall, this role has given me some incredible insights into the challenges that entrepreneurs face, particularly entrepreneurs that are further along in their journey than myself, and the many creative and effective ways that those challenges can be addressed. I can't emphasize enough what a phenomenal mentor David has been throughout this process. He's always made time for me, and he's exponentially expanded my knowledge of entrepreneurship and investing. So I'm super excited to share that I will be continuing this internship into the fall semester, and I can't wait to learn even more as the fund develops and be a big part of achieving the fund's vision. Thank you so much.